This is Brownie's Podcast.
No situational awareness. How much have we talked about this?
We talked about it with Richmond for about 3 weeks in a row, and it's come back and bitten the Blues on the arse, and it's going to cost them a final, maybe.
Could not believe it. I was just sitting there. I feel like I'm half invested in the Carlton story.
I was cheering them on.
I was cheering him on too. My man Michael Voss, he looks so composed now down on the bench.
On the sidelines.
Tell you who wasn't composed though. My daughter Olivia. I was in at Foxtel during the game, watching on from there. My daughter Olivia, who's a crazed Carlton fan, she's been swamped by this Carlton mania to the point where her mother, her own mother, Kylie Brown, who's doing a bit of Marie Kondo at the moment, she cleaned the house up, found an old, pristine, authentic Carlton woolen long-sleeve jumper from about 35 years ago.
Bruce Dools days.
No, with the yes, and the number 2 on the back, which is Diesel Williams. Of
course.
It's a great number 2.
Could it be an actual Diesel jumper?
It could be. Well, it might be a little bit too small because it fitted Liv perfectly. So she was wearing that around all night, and then the text messages started.
What have we got?
The panic text messages. The first one, this is a little bit of a lesson for her about going too early.
Yeah, the early
Blowing
cry.
the trumpet too early. They are going so well. I am so happy. Laughing emoji, but with the teeth showing. You know the laughing emoji, there's a bit of a chip, bit of a head wobble about that one. Yes, we are so good was the next text message.
Oh, no.
Then the next one was, I keep seeing ads for you and Bucks, like who is the better Josh Kennedy? So obviously there was ads coming up for best on ground later on that evening. We'll talk about who the best Josh Kennedy was.
Good company girl, I like that.
Then quickly straight back to Martin in capitals.
Yeah, huge in the last quarter.
Huge in the last quarter.
Big goal.
And I replied back, how good? She wrote back very quickly, so good. And Walsh's grab, now I'm sweating. All of a sudden, Melbourne's back within a point.
That'd be the Melksham mark and goal.
Yep.
Yes. Then Andrews jinxed it, who is our neighbour, who looks like Alphonse Gangitano, who's a crazy Carlton supporter. He said on the Saturday morning, I've got a good feeling about this. We're going to beat the Demons. So now all of a sudden she's throwing shade at the neighbour for jinxing this. And then I hate this. I have to grit my teeth and F star or asterisk. So she's blown up. So that was the journey of her night, and that's a great lesson for a 12-year-old.
Would you have
Don't
forgiven?
barry for Carlton.
Would you have forgiven her for writing in the text message? Is she allowed to write it there?
I think that'd be appropriate.
Yeah, I agree.
Goal with 11
Agreed.
seconds left.
Yep.
That's
That's
fine.
fucked territory.
How could you butcher that when you're home and hose with a
Mate.
minute to go, Brown Dog?
I
Run us
know,
through it.
and the Carlton supporters around the world, not just around Australia, they're global, would have been absolutely sick to the pit of their stomach.
Mate, it was over. They had it.
Yeah, they did. And when Curnow took that mark, he looked up, he saw Mackay in space, great kick to the wing. He took the mark, took some time off the clock, went lateral, perfect, stocker, had the footy. I went, you can't lose from here. You find one more target,
It's over.
it's over. He goes backwards, which is okay if you hit a 15-metre target. But unfortunately, I don't know if he stubbed his toe. I don't know what happened, but his kick hit the deck, which forced Adam Sard to have to play on because
it's
you don't have
broken play.
composed possession anymore. If Sard took that mark, he could have held it up, found another target. Over. But he's got to go long down the line now in a panic state, turn the ball over, and we know what happened with Kasai Pickett. Great finish, but gee whiz.
It takes great experience to do that. You need a lot of experienced campaigners with the ball in their hands to be able to take a lot of time off the clock. Now, admittedly, it wasn't a huge amount of time. 0-2 grand final, we had a heap of older guys wipe about 3 minutes off the clock late in the game. But all of those guys were over the age of 30.
Yeah.
You had some inexperienced early 20s guys that just weren't able to sort of get involved in the play. Obviously, Stocker was involved in that. I thought it was great awareness, Mackay and Curnow coming right up the field.
Terrific.
Someone had kicked too long, but they just couldn't get themselves over the line.
Do you hold it until the umpire goes, come on?
Yes, of
And, do you know
course.
what?
Come
And even
on.
after the umpire's called play on,
Yeah.
you keep holding it until the guy on the
Moves.
mark runs at you, and then
Yeah.
you go, okay, well, you know, because there is runners out there. They've got boards on the. They would have known that there
Yes.
was a minute-ish to go, right? So literally,
Oh, they would have known. It was right there at the bench. They would have been yelling it out.
Vossi could have, it was an earshot.
Yeah.
every second counts in the last minute of a play. You know what I mean? Every second.
There's no coach in the AFL that looks more like he's about to jump on the field and play than Voss. He's right there on the edge. He's ready to go. He's still pumped up. He would be good out there. I guarantee he goes out there and has 15 touches.
What's the stress doing to his hair thickness?
He did a great job to remain composed.
Required, do you think?
I would have completely lost my shit on the bench if I was a coach.
I think Vossi's been
That's
remarkably composed this year.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
but
considering all that what was going
bastard.
on.
But how good's footy?
how good's footy?
A question for you, right? Say you've got 30 seconds on the clock or a minute even. What's to stop, and you've got the ball, right? Because you only get penalised if you run too far. What's to stop 5 or 6 of your players huddling around you and then just holding the ball in the middle?
That's a good question.
What are the opposition going to do?
It's not rugby union.
So?
No,
there's
bro-
no law against it.
Bro,
you can just
very good
stand there.
point. It's wild, but how that could work?
That could work. If you get Curnow, Wiedering,
Well, just huddling around like a
yes,
scrum.
Mackay,
So link arms.
link arms,
and then
and just
someone tries
create,
to come in and tackle
just
him.
create a vacuum around him.
I like it.
There is no... How are they going to get through? They can't tackle the person without the ball.
Brown dog, do you think I'm running with that on the couch tonight?
I think you should go with it.
So to be clear, bro, it's a
And
protective
give credit
circle.
to Brody Points-Bet
It is a
Pomeroy.
protective circle.
Unbroken.
Unbroken.
And then the ball carrier's in the middle.
in the middle, just holding it.
And no one
Not
can get
moving.
to him.
No one can get to
Well,
him.
because it's not time spent with the ball, it's distance run.
exactly.
So
He
you're
can
not
hold
running it here.
I'm a genius.
Mate, it's not bad.
How many people would it require? How big does the circle need to be?
I think
question.
I think 5 or 6 gives that person in the room.
Nah, circle's not big enough.
Yeah, because they'll be able to come from behind
Nah,
and tackle.
look.
7. Minimum 7 player circle.
Look, we're in one here like that, right?
1, 2. That's
Another here.
No,
That's
you
3.
can't be touching the player though, because if you're
No,
touching
your
own
the player,
You can touch your own.
no, you
player.
Yeah,
can't
but-
because if someone tackles from the outside, the
Team
umpire
holding
player
the ball.
holding the ball.
Look, ready? I'll bring them together.
This is what we did in Kabaddi when we linked arms like that.
Bro, it's a minimum 10-person circle.
Minimum 10 people.
It's a minimum 10 per.
Get the entire team.
I love it when people think outside the square in terms of football and strategy. And
But
this is ridiculous.
no, you're ridiculous. Broads, you're a visionary.
Mate,
Thank you.
You could be a coach. You're in the wrong game, mate. You're a player. You're a player.
So,
But maybe you're a coach all along.
realistically, how good is footy? Sunday, Collingwood, Carlton. The stakes on this game.
I think it could be 90,000 people. I think they spoke to Stuart Fox yesterday, who's the CEO, your old boss,
Yep.
Browny CEO now of the MCG. They're expecting north of 85,000. The biggest home and away game we've seen probably this millennium, I would have
Yep,
thought.
dust off the
A
rabbit
lot
terrain.
right. And can you believe it, that it could be Carlton Collingwood this week and then Carlton Collingwood the following week? That's the way it's shaping up if Collingwood got rolled by Carlton.
How much would doggies have to win to move that percentage?
Oh, no. Well, the problem is I'm not confident in Hawthorn now. You know, they're trying some different things. Sicily
Emerson
going into
Checker
the
down
Senate.
back.
Absolutely. They're trying some different things. So I would have thought the Dogs get the job done down in Tassie on Sunday.
By a lot.
I think Carlton, doesn't matter. I think Carlton has to win.
Yep.
Because the percentage is so close that Bulldogs win. If Carlton lose, they're out.
No. If Carlton lose, right, Bulldogs match them on points, and then it's percentage.
It'd have to be Carlton lose by like under a goal, and then the doggies win by
By how much?
like a goal. Like, do you know what I mean?
like
Really?
it,
Just-
yeah.
Just
Very close.
Yeah,
It
it's
has
pretty
to be
close.
so close. Like,
Well,
you
actually,
actually look
what's-
at the percentage, 107.9, Carlton 108.8. Like, it's the swing of that would have to be within a goal either
Right.
way.
I've just had a thought, and I've never thought about this before. What happens if you have two teams on the exact same percentage and the exact same points?
Is it count back? Is it when they played each other?
I don't know. Is it?
Is it
Arm
he-
wrestle.
is it
Here's
head-to-head-
something for the couch.
Head-to-head it's a head-to-head result.
So it's
not sure
actually
who
in the
played-
AFL rule book, is it? Because I don't think it's ever.
I think it may be. Carlton and Bulldogs, do we remember that game during the year? What the result was?
No.
Broads, you're going to have a look at that. Do something for
And
it,
so it's
David.
count back on the home and away game.
Well, yeah, would
What
be
happens if you played each other twice and it's 1-1?
1-1? Well, then it would go to.
You've got no idea.
I've stumped the great man.
Yeah, what would it go to then? You know, like would it go to the teams that you beat in the top 8? Like, there'd be a
Dogfight,
number of
illegal
ways you could
dog
slice
Yeah, I
it.
like that.
yeah.
You get to choose one
Points
player
for?
from each
No,
team.
Yes.
I reckon they cross over when you go to the toilet.
Yes.
Remember when you used to go to the toilet and there's two of you that are busting for a week?
Yes.
And you do the old cross sword.
Sword fights.
Who's the last one wean?
Who's the biggest bladder?
Yeah, who's got the biggest
The
bladder?
biggest tank.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
Imagine
Well, you
that.
can always hold the tip a little bit so the trickle is slower.
Smart, mate. No tip holding, though.
Okay.
You have to be
So
stored.
who would,
Hands on hand.
who would
Illegal
it
tip
be?
hold.
Would it be Vossi and Bevo, or would it be Cripper and Bont?
Amazing.
You want
Amazing.
younger bladders, I'd say, right?
I think so,
Really?
yeah.
In this episode alone, we have revolutionised the game of AFL, and it's better for it.
I just realised that Brizzy Melbourne,
That's the game that could shape everything.
mate, one of them's dropping out of the 4, maybe.
Huge game, absolutely. Yeah, it is, absolutely, no doubt about it. And it could be also, too, to decide Melbourne, Brisbane. They could play the week after. It could be to decide whose ground they play it on. Well, if
yeah.
Brisbane wins, it could be at the Gabba. If Melbourne wins, it could be the MCG.
There's machinations and permutations right throughout this.
Permutations.
After
Oh,
the
yeah.
penultimate
What does
round.
permutation
Yeah, look how
mean,
proud he
brother?
is. He's that word.
Just little chopping and
Spell it.
changing.
How's your ladder predictor going, boys? I'm
Well,
pretty happy with mine. With
yeah.
Sydney, I had Sydney predicted to come second. And that was a very good win against
was.
Collingwood yesterday, so that's shaping up just nicely.
Sydney have fucked me. How about you, Brods?
Well, Port in third is still a controversial decision.
Rhodes
I'm
is
not
out.
sure how likely
Rhodes
that is
is
to come
out.
true.
Why are we talking about Bombers? Can someone...
Well,
President's gone.
What?
So Paul Brasher has just handed in his resignation right now
true?
as we speak. The board will meet this afternoon. It's obviously been accepted to vote on who the next president of Essendon will be after their non-effort yesterday. It was an absolute
I did that
embarrassment.
game.
It was a disgrace.
It's
In fact,
disgraceful.
them and the Gold Coast Suns have put up...
They've been disappointing
arguably-
as well,
Yeah.
Gold Coast, last 6 weeks.
They put the queue in the rack about 8 weeks ago after Dewey signed, have been poor.
Were they premature in signing Stuart Dew?
Whoa!
Well, you can only you can sort of only go with what they done to that date. If the longer it drags on, the longer Clarko's name gets mentioned, and it just
But it
leaves
didn't do
it.
their performance any good,
No,
though.
it did a detriment.
So why jump early? Like, who's coming out? Who's coming out?
Stability, maybe.
I'm not sure, but who's coming to poach Stuart Dew away from the Gold
No,
Coast
no one.
Suns? So I just wonder, like, St Kilda have done the same thing as well. You've got the Clarkson sweepstakes. Why the rush to re-sign these coaches? They re-signed Brett Ratton and St Kilda have struggled. They re-signed Stuart Dew and they've struggled.
They probably just thought, we think he's the guy, Dewey and Ratton, and if
Okay.
he is the guy, then don't worry about outside noise. Let's just sign him up because we, the board, believe he's it. That's the only reason I can come up with. But they've beaten 2 teams in the last 8 weeks. Richmond after the siren, the Gold Coast Suns. Lucky to win that.
Yeah.
And then West Coast Eagles, they played them at home and won by 3 points.
They were a shit.
Who was shocking.
Hey, speaking of my Eagles, do you guys who know who's going to be the number 1 draft pick next year?
No idea.
I do.
No.
Any words?
Well, number one would have been Will Ashcroft, but he's playing for Brisbane under father-son rule. So,
Okay.
so we effectively get the number 1 pick.
because Eagles are going to
yes,
get the
they-
number
they're
1
gonna-
pick.
Yeah, but they're going to bid on Ashcroft, so he will go at 1, the official number 1 pick.
Eagles
No,
are
that is not true.
Brody.
No, you don't know, mate.
It is.
That is not the way it works.
Brody's just making a heap of shit up today.
Brody, what have you done?
In the draft official draft order, if you go back through it, it'll go. They will have to bid on him, and they will bid first, right? So then he and Brisbane have to match it with points, and they have to accumulate points from across all of their picks, right? But he will officially be stated as the number 1 pick.
No, he gets.
Yes, he
He
does.
gets taken as Brisbane's first pick, but Brisbane might have pick 15.
Right.
That'll be Will Ashcroft.
No, in the official order, he will go at number 1 pick.
This is why
Bro,
your
you're dying
face
on
is
this
never
hill.
going to be on the Brownies podcast.
Mate, I will
trust
die.
me.
I will die on the hill.
Trust me.
I will die on the hill
Trust
for that.
me.
So there you go. We're getting that checked out and clarified
mate,
on Friday.
absolutely,
Get
yeah.
someone on from the
Trust me.
AFL to discuss this. Back on the Essendon one.
Yep, so-
now, President, woohoo,
Gone.
great. We're not listening to see if a president goes unless it's Eddie Maguire or Jeff Kennett. What about the coach? Is there any possibility
There is.
that the board members, the power brokers at Essendon, get a little bit jumpy and reach out to Alastair Clarkson at the last minute just before he signs the dotted line at North Melbourne?
I've got no doubt that they do. I know that Paul Brasher was a really big supporter of Ben Rutten. So when you got the president, he's supporting the coach, and then he goes.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, I can imagine Ben's woken
shaky
up this
ground.
morning and went, geez, that's my number 1 guy. He was in my corner. He's not there anymore. He'd be feeling vulnerable.
Clarko, no chance.
You'd be
because why?
crazy not to have reached out to Clarko, but
Say
if
it.
I know one thing,
Say it.
Clarko, he takes the call because he's a polite, nice guy. He hangs up. He turns to Karen.
He doesn't strike me as being polite.
He turns
nice.
to Karen
And says?
his wife, and says, "Waste of time that call was. No chance I go to Essendon. And if he does, this is going to be a statement because Clark. I got my old man who I revere. You know, he sort of taught me everything I know.
No wonder
Right
he pays
under
all
that,
your bills.
just my horse bills. Right under that, I've got the great Alastair Clarkson that mentored me and turned me into the person and the player I was. Just a rung under. I will sever my relationship with Alastair Clarkson if he goes to Essendon.
Sever his relationship.
He
Whoa,
promoted
Whoa,
and
mate.
built our hatred of the Essendon Footy Club. The line in the sand game, he wasn't there yet, but he was still a part of it spiritually.
Oh, mate, I can't believe Clarko would love nothing more to come back and stick it to the club that virtually pushed him out last year. The Hawthorn Football Club.
Any club but
he would
Essendon.
love nothing better than go to their arch rival and come back and rip it into the Hawks.
Nah, he hated him. You got to remember that he nearly attacked Matty Lloyd on the ground after he ran through Lloyd.
No,
It's
past history.
He attacked our CEO, Ian Robson, when he handed his resignation, not because he resigned, but because Clarko heard he was going to the arch enemy.
You heard it here first. Clarko to the Bombers. It's huge.
He's not going.
Congratulations, Alastair.
He won't go. He's already down
Congrats.
the track
Congrats,
at,
mate.
at
Congrats.
North.
Hey, tell me, do Eagles finish last knowing that equal points with North? North have Suns. We have Geelong in Geelong. Eagles get the spoon, right?
Yeah.
Yes!
Feel about that, Dino?
Depends who wants the spoon,
Mate,
really.
Actually, not bad. That means we get the number one pick, even though there's not much difference between 1 and 2, really, is there? Do you think?
Well, you don't get the best player in the draft. That's the thing. 'Cause he's playing for Brisbane.
Is he, though?
By the way,
My
I have a
man, Marcus Ashcroft.
resolution to our little dispute.
Here we go.
He's like a Cheshire cat.
Here
over
we
there.
go.
I looked up the 2021 draft because obviously there was a few big father
there was,
sons.
There was Dacos, Nick Dacos.
Yeah, but look at the official draft because the match became first. Look, Sam Darcy goes officially in the order at 2 because they had to bid on him. Because
Of course.
And look, there he is at number 2 in the official draft order because you have to trade in all your picks to match up to where the bid has been made, and that was at pick 2.
Apologise, Jonathan.
Apologise to me.
I'm
right
not going to apologise until you get someone from the AFL on.
It's all mates, look at that.
Mate.
Dino, look at that.
Get someone from the AFL
I'm
on,
not
Dom.
talking to some mung bean
see
over
it.
there believing his opinion.
Mung bean.
Wow.
Mung bean.
Of all the things you've been called,
I know.
mung bean.
Let's enjoy some BT right now. Chris Rock was in the crowd at the Swans game, and let's listen to BT's hot take.
Chris Rock there, of course, of growing up's fame, and he just accepts a slap really well these days, doesn't he? Chris Rock,
Keep my wife's name.
In terms of A-listers, just behind.
No one supports BT when he mentions a slap. That's one thing.
That's good humour.
Also,
I'm all for it.
Who references grown-ups when they talk
I
about
know.
Chris Rock's
Grown-ups.
career?
It actually wasn't growing. It was growing
Yeah,
ups.
grown-ups.
Growing ups, like, come on. I'm trying to think of his filmography and discography.
Stunning.
That is one of the last ones you go to, wouldn't you?
Stunning.
Growing ups.
One of the greatest stand-up comedians of our generation.
Yeah.
But no, grown-ups.
Grown-ups
Yeah.
for 1 and 2. Dog, what was that? You sent me some audio from Twitter, a coach losing their mind.
Well,
What club was
So
this?
I can imagine this happens quite regularly, right? You're in the change rooms, you're the coach, you're trying to deliver this pump-up message to your side. And kids these days, they're always just on their phones, checking TikTok, checking Instagram, how many likes they have on their photo that they just posted, right? And this coach, he's seen one of his senior players in the back corner reach for his phone.
Yeah.
And this is what he says.
Get the ball through the corridor. It's really, really simple footy today, right? Most of all, this is the West foot straight away. Hey! Put your phone down! Hey, give a you focus on the game!
Westwood's great.
Man, very hard at the ball. It's as simple as that.
And then he carries the intensity back into the game.
Without
plan.
missing a beat.
Put your phone down! Hey, give a
So I'm always picking up my phone during the podcast, and it's something that you guys never raised with me. You actually told Sal Harris,
Exactly.
you know, and she gave me some feedback
Yeah,
about
good.
it. You know, about how sometimes I lose concentration. So when I heard that, I thought that was quite appropriate.
Jonathan's a coward in real life. Doesn't want to tell you to your face.
What's that?
You're a coward
So-
in real life.
Oh, yeah.
You can just you got the audio now. Whenever I just randomly pick up my phone,
Hey!
Put your phone down!
What are you showing
It sounds
Jonathan
like-
now, Brody?
This is the official AFL website.
give
of
up.
the 2021
Give it up,
and
you.
Sam Darcy is registered as the second overall pick.
We'd moved on.
I know. So This is the
But I'm
most.
never right, so this feels awesome.
This is the most prep you've ever put into something. We walk in most days not knowing. There's no rundown, not knowing what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
And now you're just going deep diving into this draft stuff.
I know, because I was right.
Do we have any more Billboard news?
Yeah,
Oh,
update.
yeah.
'Cause
So,
it's been popping up a lot, our Billboard.
it has, but I was driving to the airport yesterday, and you know when you drive on the tollway, the tollway you go through, and there's all those bridges that go over the cross. And have you been out that way recently, out west?
No, I haven't been out west for ages.
Bridges that go over the cross.
Yeah. On
what's wrong with
a
you?
freeway that he doesn't even know. We've been living in Melbourne.
Come
all
on,
the
Mate,
way.
I'm from Adelaide, all right?
The Tulla,
years
mate.
ago.
The
The
Tulla.
Tulla. So I'm on the Tulla, I'm driving out, I'm dropping the in-laws to the airport, no worries. And there's one of the big walkways that goes across the bridge over the top, right?
Oh, no.
And then must be size, I don't know, the letters are like 6 foot each, I reckon. And then this is what it says. BROWNDOG exclamation mark in really poorly written graffiti, like almost like it's been painted on.
Brown dog.
Someone has written brown dog.
On
the-
Brown Dog?
No, or just on the Tulla Freeway, just across a banner. Is that you?
It's not me, but I spell my name with 2 G's. So whoever did the graffiti, go back and put another
Does
G.
too.
Is that right?
But yeah, it says brown dog on the Tulla Freeway. I was like, geez.
We've got very paintable heads, I reckon.
Just a bit of a nod to my boy.
What was the billboard?
Yeah.
Was there any billboard that it was on?
No, it's just concrete. Just
Oh.
painted on concrete straight across.
I like the fact that the promotion's out there of the podcast, and I like the fact that it's getting defaced.
Yeah.
I reckon that's a snapshot into our listeners.
Yeah, it is.
Bro, do you think you've taken a step back to getting your face on it after the stuff you've been carrying on with today?
No, I think really what I've given to the game is
Yeah.
as large contribution as Jonathan's.
When we rebrand the apostrophe,
Yeah.
that's going to go the other side of the S.
Yeah.
We're going to have your little face on it.
Yeah.
Just
That's
the apostrophe.
nice. That is
Oh,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be nice.
Oh, what about
That'd suit you.
It looks like a sperm. That's
Yeah.
good. Yeah,
what about the
excellent.
circle in the middle of the O on pod?
Little.
That'd be nice.
No, we need the footy. Yeah, we can't have.
Apparently the footy's more important.
Back in a second. Welcome back to Brownie's podcast. One of our most beloved members of the WhatsApp thread is Shari, and well, let's call her because some went down over the weekend.
Hello.
Shari!
Hello.
All right, what have you been up to?
Oh no. Oh goodness me.
Let's just set the scene, Shari. I was at Best on Ground on Saturday night, just preparing, just practicing my lines,
Yeah.
rehearsing a few things,
Yeah.
a few storylines, and I get word from Janae, who's the PA there,
Yep.
the secretary, all things Fox Footy, and she
Security.
comes up to me and she goes, "Big fella." I said, "What?" She goes, "One of your good mates is out the front. He's going to come into the audience." And I said, "Oh, yeah? What's the problem?" She said, "She's too drunk."
Oh, intoxicated.
Okay.
Intoxicated. Now, she didn't pronounce your name properly.
Well,
and
firstly, I would never say I was one of your good mates. That was not true.
But you were that drunk, you could have been like on name dropping JB.
No, I would never. I would never. I'm not like that.
there was
But
a
what-
reference to the podcast.
Okay.
So I'm thinking,
Okay.
okay, it might be one of my podcast listeners,
Who
one of
were
ours.
all joined together and we're coming to Best on Ground on Saturday night.
Absolutely. So I said, I don't know anyone by that name, though.
How do we pronounce your name just to get this right?
Sherry, like cherry, Mary, fairy, dairy, all of that.
I've been saying Shari this whole time.
That's okay. It doesn't matter.
And Sherry-
I'm not going to die because of that. It's
You-
fine.
So this was exciting because I was in the little side WhatsApp group that got put together. Looking forward to a big Saturday night in the crowd on Best on Ground. You caught up for some pre-Best on Ground drinks.
Yes.
And then what happened?
Well, oh gosh, this is really bad.
Oh, good. Hey, we're in the trust tree.
So I rocked up at 5 o'clock because they booked it for 5 o'clock because people are coming in from Geelong and what have you. So they wanted to get it done early. Very excited. So I'm like, well, you know what? I'll go in at 5. Filled my belly with wonton noodle soup before. I'm a pretty small person. So I'm like, no, I don't want to get too pissed.
Yep.
But then just drank beer the whole time.
How many do you think you consumed?
Well, you know what? I looked at my bank account after, and I only bought 1 round. And so I assume all of us only bought 1 or 2 rounds.
Yeah.
That might
So
have
it
laced
wouldn't
your
have been
drinks.
a lot. but I think it was because we didn't move.
What do you mean you didn't move? You like in between rounds, you need to do a 5K time trial along the Yarra.
No,
What else do you think you're doing,
A
Sherry?
beep test.
I didn't go to the loo. I didn't do anything.
Well, there we go.
And you
Sherry.
got kicked out of not a bar, not a nightclub, a studio, best on ground, which is almost impossible to do.
They didn't kick us out of the pub, but when I got to best on ground, the poor security guard, he might work for the company I work for. I feel really badly for him. And he's like, darling, I really want to let you in. And I'm like, you need to go with your heart. You know? Let me in.
This is hilarious that you did not get kicked out of Crown Casino
No.
Yeah.
with all their
No, we did
security
not.
measures in place.
Yeah.
However,
No,
you
did
could
not.
not get into best on ground audience.
Fox Footy.
Fox Footy.
No, exactly.
So what did you
Did not
do?
get kicked. Well, I just couldn't. Every time I would try and walk up to get in, my legs just kept buckling. And I'm like, if they had security cameras there, I would love to see the footage. I would piss myself.
Oh, my
You're
God.
like North Melbourne's
It
Jet
is
Anderson.
really bad. Like, I should not be laughing at this. If there's any people under the age of 18, I do not condone. Under
All
age-
right, mate.
No, it's
All
fine.
good, all
So
good.
did everyone else go into the studio on Best on Ground,
Yeah.
or did anyone wait outside for you?
No, they waited outside for me to get into the Uber. They're all lovely.
Yeah.
Everyone in our potty group is lovely.
Oh,
And you
man.
Ubered home.
And yeah, they made sure I got home, and they went in after, and they had a lovely time. They got photos with JB.
That's right. I
And-
saw Mick and Rick there.
Yeah, they were there.
Shout out to
Um,
Mick, who's a bit crook at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, he's one of their biggest WhatsApp listeners.
Love you, Mick.
I love the fact that every time our WhatsApp group get together, we obviously had the great day.
Which you
at the
weren't
You
precinct.
weren't f***ing
that
at,
you
mate.
weren't there
Yeah,
for
I
it.
wasn't there, but got real and people got
Nude.
inebriated and nude, and then they get together a smaller group for Best on Ground, and we have some similar shenanigans. It's a great mindset for the WhatsApp group.
I've never been not allowed into somewhere or kicked out of somewhere in my life.
Blame the podcast.
We love you, mate. And great effort. And that signed book of JB's will be on the way.
Oh, thank you. I've
no
been
worries.
waiting for it for months.
I know you asked first. Hey, we love you. Thanks for picking up. Here's the more adventures.
Thank you. Love you, boys.
Okay, so by the way, speaking of those books, we got some posting to do, man. I said, send me your address if you want signed copies. We all have to sign about 15 books.
Yeah, that's
Is
fine.
that right?
Yeah.
That's fine.
Sign my books.
Yes. People want us all to
Yeah,
sign.
they want
And
my
then
Why the
signature.
fuck would I allow you knuckleheads to deface my
You
book?
try and stop us, mate. And they want Vin Diesel quotes as well. All right, on to Croft. What's going on here? This is amazing.
Well, he's always been into some theatre, hasn't he? He remember,
Fantastic on the Players Review on the Footy Show.
and even before that, I remember my early years at Hawthorn. He was doing that show on the Footy Show when he dressed up.
The review.
Bolger.
Hank Bolger. Before the
the
review,
old guy?
it was a week to week thing. Gary Line and
House
Yeah,
of Bolger.
yeah.
So
That was so big they released a DVD at the time. Do you remember?
They did
They
too.
released the House of Bulger.
They did.
It was
Um,
dog.
But he's always been a bit of a free spirit that just he likes a challenge. That's why he did the bike ride to Perth and the run from Adelaide, and beats to his own drum. And this is sensational because I know Croft, he needs a challenge. Otherwise, he doesn't do things unless he's fully invested. And reading the paper today, obviously, very, very sad news about his brother Justin, who passed away recently. But Croft's been trying out for a role, and he got it, JB.
Got it in Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat, which is a big musical worldwide, and he's landed the gig as a pharaoh. Now, he went for the lead character. He auditioned as
Yep.
the lead to a panel in New York and London via Zoom. So he auditioned for Joseph. He didn't have much up his sleeve when it come to singing, but he landed the role of Pharaoh. So
Great.
not as big a role as Joseph, and he's got to sing 3 songs as
It's
well
brilliant.
as a shitload of dancing.
We'll have to go as a group.
Oh, yeah,
I want to
we're
go
going.
there and support Croft.
Starts in November. It'd be fantastic.
That's legitimately huge.
Technicolor Dreamcoat.
He's
This
in it
isn't
with
like
Paulini's in it.
No,
It's not some
I'm,
bull
I'm
musical.
a big Pauline.
They apparently
A big Pauline,
Craig McLaughlin also tried out for it.
Oh,
Didn't
yeah.
get the role.
Interesting. That it's not, as you said, JB. It's not some community. It's not some community theatre production.
No, this is big stuff.
This is proper.
Yeah, it's
Region
gonna be
theatre
Region
sort of
Theatre.
stuff.
Yeah, Region Theatre, that'll be good. I'm glad that Croft's got this. It's obviously been a harrowing last few weeks for him with, as you said, the passing of his brother Justin, but he'll be great at that. I'm not sure about his pipes, though.
I don't know if he can sing. Nah, I'm
A lot
not
of
sure if he can
auto-tune
sing.
required, or maybe a bit of Milli Vanilli miming.
He will practice with a voice coach, a singing coach, more than Bradley Cooper, I reckon.
You reckon?
Yeah.
Well, let's get him in one
yeah.
day if you're capable of getting anyone that played footy on this podcast.
You haven't even got us a Gold Coast Suns.
Come
I'll,
on.
Not even a
I'll struggle
Suns
to get
player.
Suns guys. I'd be able to get Tommy Lynch, no worries. Dion Prestia, that'd be fine. The Hawthorn faction, I'll get Croft. I'll
Brian
get
Lake.
Clarko. I'll get
He throws these names
I'll
out.
get Mitch.
We have an opening on Friday, so we expect to have a guest from you ready
Yeah.
to go for Friday. So look forward to that.
I want someone from the AFL to clarify the draft order.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You wait.
There's only two people I haven't been able to get: Hayden Burbank and Buddy.
But Burbank, we're off Burbank now.
You were so convinced you were going to get Burbank.
Well,
wasn't
mate, we
he?
put him on the map. Without Brownie's podcast, I reckon he goes over to Perth
That's a fair
and he's
point.
still in jail. He's lost. We put that much pressure on
We got him
McGowan
out. We got him
and
out.
the Western Australian authorities that we got him out.
Did Burbank give us a bit of talk to my manager vibes? Like a bit of that bullshit?
There was a bit of that.
He gave me a little bit of, hey, I'll do it on my term,
up Burbank.
and I've got to do a couple of things with the Herald Sun. And
Turn
just
it up,
work, you know.
dog. Front bar's on fire. You guys been
Oh,
watching
hell yes.
Absolutely.
it? Wayne the Dominator Johnson?
He was great last week,
My
wasn't he?
God, if you haven't seen it yet, go to 7+. But on the last episode, they showed this clip of Mick Malthouse, JB. And it's something we love talking about when players say they want to retire to spend more time with their family. Famously, Tom Brady did it.
How many days he last?
Was it 2?
42 days
42 days.
in retirement.
And that's with bunching.
Wow, that's a big thing. So that just shows you that any time a man says he's retiring to spend more time with his family, it's just completely wrong.
Yeah.
It's false. Just shouldn't do it.
Listen to this news story of Mick Malthouse.
Last year, Malthouse's season came to an end when he dislocated his shoulder. The Thursday night before the grand final, he failed a fitness test and has not played since. He now wants to play league football again.
I must admit, a couple of weeks ago, I didn't really feel like it. I thought, well, this is good. I'll sit back now and enjoy my family. But 1 week at home, it was enough.
1 week.
That's so good. That is so good.
Mate, Dog, you do remarkably well because out of all of us, you are the bloke that spends the most time with their family for sure.
Oh, no doubt about that. Yeah, it's in theory, like you want to spend more time, and then when you actually do spend the time, you want to work more.
Oh, yeah. Mate, you're doing unbelievable because you're holed up out of the farm as well.
Mate, all the time.
Nowhere to go.
Nowhere to
just
go.
Trapped.
Doing
That's
it tough.
Back in a second. Welcome back to Brownie's podcast, you bastards.
I've got a very, very interesting modern world, and I need your help with it, doing a little bit of maths, okay? So recently, Virgil, famous wrestler. Back
Love Virgil.
Yeah, do you know him?
Yeah.
Big guy, good-looking guy.
Was he a goodie or a baddie?
African-American guy.
He was goodie.
Big unit.
Nah, he flicked a couple of times. So
Yeah.
he was heel and then he went back and a couple of times.
So we all know Virgil. He's worldwide. But he did an interview recently where they asked him, right, clearly a ladies' man, they asked him how many women that he thought over the journey he'd slept with, okay? Now, you got to remember Ric Flair.
Yep.
Oh,
He said
prolific.
10,000.
Yeah.
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar,
Yeah.
remember him?
He was up there.
He's had thousands, right?
Yeah.
Virgil said 1 million. 1 million, okay? Now, I
1
need you
million.
guys to break some stuff down, some
Okay,
numbers.
okay.
He was born on April 7th, 1951.
Yep.
So, Brody, how old is he?
50, 49 plus
71.
6,
Well done, John.
See, 71 years of age, okay? Now, you're not going to sleep with anyone until you're about 14. Okay, so minus 71 minus 14, please.
Jeez, you're an
Come on,
early
bro.
starter.
So
Hurry up.
57. Okay? So in 57 years, how many women does he need to sleep with a year? If we divide it by 1 million, divided by 57. This is a man that's done his best work outside of the ring by the sounds of it.
I've got a number.
Wait for the drum roll.
All right.
Wait for the drum roll.
Per year. Per year.
So $1 million
Yes.
divided by 56, his
Correct.
57 years, he needs to have slept with 17,543.85 women a year.
Okay. An unbelievable amount. Now I want you to
Doable.
divide that
per day.
Yep.
by 365.
Okay.
So we've got a yearly number. Now I want a per day number from Virgil.
Okay. So, if he's to have slept with that many women per day, he needs to be sleeping with 48.06 women a day.
Okay, now
So
divide.
now we want to divide it by 24,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Because this is how many people Virgil will need to sleep with an hour.
An
It's
hour.
probably pretty easy to break down 48.
No, we
into
need
24.
official.
Oh, yeah.
Official.
Brady might struggle the way he's done with the podcast today.
He needs to be sleeping for 57 years straight.
Yeah.
365 days a year.
Yes.
And 24 hours a day.
Yes.
He needs to be sleeping with 2 women.
An hour without doing anything else
No
in the
sleep.
rest of his life. Forget about his work and his,
How
his
did he
wrestling. Well, he might have been wrestling with that because I personally believe that he might have put a bit of sugar on that. And I nearly put him in tickets, please, because that is massive.
He produced
I'm like Baz Luhrmann. If he claims that, that's massive tickets. $1 million. Virgil, I believe you're telling a lie, and if you change your last letter L to N, you're a virgin.
Oh!
Bros.
Well done, dog.
That was his
He's
big
happy with
finish.
that.
That was his big finish.
Mate, he's workshopped that all weekend. Show some appreciation, boys.
He was here an hour early writing notes, and that's what clearly he was doing.
Are we cheering him off to finish?
We
the-
are,
like
because
that.
you're always sad that you never got cheered off after your final game.
What
I've
song?
never been on two people's shoulders outside of the Swedish House Mafia concert. And
Where you pissed on your friend?
Yes.
Which club song do we want for this?
Feels Gold Coast
No,
Suns.
Gold Coast
I don't know.
Suns, because
Feels-
you cheered off for Gold
Exactly.
Coast.
It feels Gold Coast Suns.
Hawthorn sits.
You want Hawthorn? You want Hawthorn?
Yeah.
All right, done.
All right, Dean, let's get ready to cheer him off.
All right, let's
sure
get-
you can
Jonathan,
lift
you
me?
have to commentate.
Okay.
let's get
Can
the
you
song
lift me?
ready.
Will you be able to lift me?
Mate, come on. We'll lift you.
All right.
kidding me?
I'd feel more comfortable if I was on
Are we ready?
JB's shoulders. Here we go.
Here we go. Finally, Campbell Brown gets chaired off for the first and only time in his career.
It's a bit bigger than I imagined.
Well done, dog. Great job, well done, mate.
Great career, mate. Get him under. Get him under.
Get under. Great career, dog. Love you.
Brownie